Breaking news, folks. This is today's big story, and there's some speculation that this is only getting sent out there, and the White House is only doing a press conference on this because they want to distract from the Trump-Epstein connection, the fact that Trump is very transparently trying to bury his connections with Epstein. Everyone's been calling this out. Even the MAGA train is starting to fall apart, and there's a bit of speculation that this is just being used to distract from it, but I find that somewhat not compelling. This seems more like Trump and his administration being pressured into responding about yet another thing that America is questioning. I don't know if you've seen, but in recent photos of Trump, he's appeared to be covered in bruises, particularly on his hands, and his legs have been real rough looking, swollen and covered in unhealthy looking veins. He's got old man legs and old man hands, but way worse than what you expect. It's rough, okay? And one photo you can see that he very badly applied concealer to his hand to cover up one of these bloody bruises that he's carrying around. And so everyone's been like, what the fuck is going on with Trump? Is he dying? Are his veins exploding? And today we got an answer. Trump has been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. While this disease itself is not a serious issue, Trump is in his late 70s, and this is generally the beginning of the circulatory system breaking down. Like, it is very likely at this point, based on what we're seeing, that Donald Trump will probably die when he does one day. He will probably die of like a stroke or heart failure. Something along those lines. Some kind of failure of his circulatory system. He's very sedentary, and he's not very healthy with his diet. Doctors have been very open with the fact that Donald Trump has a lot of comorbidities that might make him pretty susceptible to issues like this. He's also had COVID before, very publicly, if you guys remember, before we had much in the way of treatment for it either. So this story has been on everyone's mind, next to, of course, the Epstein one, and everyone's asking, is it over for Trump? Is this like it? Is his brain melting? Is he literally actively dying? And I know many people that have expressed what they hope happens from all of this, and I've got my own hopes as to what might happen in all of this. I'm hoping for my own thing that I'm not going to express out loud. But let's find out more about this venous insufficiency Trump is dealing with. I am certain it causes severe erectile dysfunction. I refuse to look into it at the chance that I'm wrong, but right now my headcanon is that Trump's dick looks fucking weird, and it can't get even a little hard. Not even like quarter chub, because of this issue. That's my current headcanon. It makes me smile, so don't throw a wrench in it, please.
We've been listening to the White House press briefing there hit a number of topics, most notably, or among the notable topics, we heard about the president's medical condition, with the White House press secretary there saying that he was evaluated by the White House medical unit after questions and after the president noticed some swelling in his legs. And they said in an effort of transparency that tests were performed. I want you to just listen to the sound here.
Speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs. So in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today. In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. In keeping with routine medical care and out of an abundance of caution, this concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit. The president underwent a comprehensive examination, including diagnostic vascular studies.
Now, this is the same administration that has ruthlessly accused Biden's White House of covering up his like medical status, right? Whether or not he was genuinely healthy or fit to be in office. So now we're supposed to, once again, Trump is having his own house of cards collapse on him and crush him. Why should his supporters believe that this White House's doctor is being honest about the president's health? Trump's the oldest president, or will be soon the oldest president we've ever had. You know, it's worth thinking, like, damn, is this it? Is this the beginning of the end? Is his body crapping out on him? Sometimes these things go fast. You know, there's a fair amount of old people that at 78, they're up walking around golfing, and at 79, they're on their deathbed. I'm just saying, it happens.
Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70.
Condition.
Importantly, there was
notably, by the way, with sedentary lifestyles, Trump would not have this issue more likely than not if he got, like, any cardio whatsoever.
No evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease.
Now, they claim there is no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease. I find that unlikely. And mind you, even if that's true, the fact he's getting these problems does not speak well to his future, and I mean short-term, like near future health. All right? This might just be the first thing. What does happen if he dies in office? Elon Musk becomes president. Well, J.D. Vance would become president because he's the current vice president.
Laboratory testing included a complete blood count, comprehensive metabolic panel, coagulation profile, D-dimer, B-type natriuretic peptide, and cardiac biomarkers. All results were within normal limits. An echocardiogram was also performed and confirmed normal cardiac structure and function. No signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness were identified. Additionally, recent photos of the president have shown minor bruising on the back of his hand. This is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is
I call cap on that. I call cap on that. Their excuse for why the back of his hand has bruises on it is because of rigorous handshaking. That is a lie, concocted specifically for Trump's base. You have to believe that Trump is he's just such a businessman. He's always shaking people's hands. The handshakes bruised him. That is, the back of the hand is the one part of the hand that does not really get touched during a handshake, typically. To be fair, Trump has small hands, so maybe they get completely consumed by anybody who he handshakes. There is the possibility that that happens, but that's complete cap. I think we all know that is cap. That is a blatant, obvious lie, clearly designed for the people that already like Trump and think that he's just such an awesome guy that, of course, he'd get hurt shaking just so many hands.
Taken as part of a standard cardiovascular prevention regimen. This is a well-known and benign side effect of aspirin therapy. And the president remains in excellent health, which I think all of you witness on a daily basis.
There is no way Trump is in excellent health. There's no way he is in excellent health. If he is in excellent health, we need to all start eating nothing but McDonald's.
Here.
All right, let's bring in emergency physician Dr. Jeremy Faust to talk a little bit about what we are hearing there. Doctor, take us through this because it's really two things that we're hearing. Chronic venous insufficiency, AB9, I think I heard her say when it came to the swollen ankles that have been observed. And then also she's saying bruising on the back of the hand due to aspirin regimen combined with a lot of handshaking.
Yeah, Trump has also been showing signs of dementia for months, okay? Like, yeah. This doctor looks like a villain in Dexter. Kind of true, I'm not gonna lie.
Take us through this.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. First thing, I think that we're just hearing a lot of medical jargon such that even you're just mentioning AB9. I think you're hearing her just saying a benign condition. Oh. A benign condition is what
a benign and common condition,
which is great, right? But it's always good to unpack all of these terms. So what happened here was good medical care so far, and it's basically not alarming information, and it's not surprising. The president is an older man. I believe he just turned 79 years old. He has had risk factors for this condition that they're talking about, which is called chronic.
Look how badly he tried to cover up the bruise. That's not how the bruise naturally looks, right? Like that's makeup. Like he tried to put concealer on it and did like an awful job. Is that his like necrotizing hand, or is that makeup that he put on to cover it? Because like if that's just how that skin looks now, that's somehow even worse. Like the skin itself, that the flesh is dying and turning like air dried due to lack of like connection to the rest of his living flesh. I can't tell though. It looks like it's makeup. Yeah. It looks like a really bad liquid foundation application. Damn, I'm not a rapper, but I lay down some fire bars when I don't mean to.
Venous insufficiency. And what that really means is that the blood that goes out of the heart has to return to the heart through the veins. And as we age, some of that blood flow back to the heart, that's called venous return, just slows down in some patients more than others. And that can lead to things like swelling. That can look like things that many people would be familiar with, like varicose veins. So this is a pretty normal part of aging. And especially for someone in the overweight to obese category, which is where the president has always been.
Listen, the doctor's just telling the truth. Trump can't get mad. That's just the doctor stating simple facts. Trump's still going to go, fake news, fake news. I am ripped as fuck under the suit. I just never take it off because I don't want to make all the other presidents jealous.
And but the bigger concern, which was addressed in that information that we just heard about, is that symptoms like this do need to be evaluated for more serious conditions, and that is what happened.
And I want to bring in cardiologist Dr. Bernard.
No, like this is clearly indicating that his circulatory system has been weakened substantially, or is showing signs of weakness, and heart disease, lethal heart disease, does not take long to catch up with symptoms like this. Like, this is the beginning of the end, all right? Like, no exaggeration. This is serious shit. Like, right now it's not serious, but it's the beginning of getting serious.
Ashby as well to this conversation, because to Dr. Faust's point, as the White House press secretary laid out, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease in what they laid out, even with this diagnosis of chronic venous insufficiency. Can you just break down what the concern may have been or would have been if there was deep vein thrombosis, and why the need to make that distinction was necessary?
I know. He's got his
we might be
AirPods
having
in.
some
He can't hear you.
Audio issues. But Dr. Faust, can if you're still on the line, can I just pose that same question to you, just about the deep vein thrombosis and why that distinction is necessary?
Yeah, this is the important thing. When people have...
I'm going to be honest. If Trump dies in office and Vance takes his place and they run Vance against the next Democrat nominee, I think we got it in the bag, to tell you the truth. I think we might have it in the bag. Vance would be the weakest candidate the Republicans could hope to run. They'd be better off running Ted Cruz.
Symptoms, they want to get looked at to find out if there's a danger or whether it's a relatively less dangerous, benign condition that's just causing some discomfort. And as stated, a deep vein thrombosis is what the concern would be. That is an abnormal blood clot. Our blood is always on this balance between how thick and thin it should be. And we have amazing bodies that keep our blood in a really narrow range of how thin or thick it should be for our own safety. Too thin, you bleed too much. Too thick, you make clots, which blocks off blood supply to vital organs. And so when if your blood is a little too thick or a little too slow, in terms of getting back to the heart, which is this condition that the president does.
Trump's got to take old man pills. He's got to take blood thinners, or he'll get a fucking stroke and die. Like, it's serious. You know, he's got to take meds, or it will be a serious issue.
these blood clots can start to accumulate in places where they're not supposed to, or get too large to be safe. And the concern there would be when that blood clot occurs, that it can actually then break off of the vessel where it's forming, usually in the legs, and travel up back to the heart. And
Or the
then when it
brain.
gets pumped back out, it can cut off blood supply chiefly to the lungs, but it can also go other places depending on individuals'
brain.
anatomy and abnormalities. But these dangerous blood clots, they can be very dangerous. Some people can get these conditions diagnosed. They're called pulmonary embolisms in the lungs, blood clots of the lungs, and they can be benign and they can be treated. But some of them can be life-threatening. So it's an amazing spectrum of illness that we diagnose in ERs, where people have these blood clots, and the treatment can really.
Can someone please send a link to the picture of Trump's cankles? Thank you, E-Man, for mentioning. Please, someone send a link. I need to show chat, those who've not seen it, what bro's legs look like. When we're talking about leg swelling, we're talking about some real ass leg swelling. Bro's got cankles, dude.
Vary from blood thinners by mouth or IV, but in serious life-threatening cases, some of these blood clots need to be removed actually in medical procedures, or we need to give medications that break those clots apart. So it's a spectrum of disease that can go from mild to life-threatening, and that is why the president was evaluated, to see if he had that condition, a blood clot, and fortunately he did not.
Yeah, really good context there. And Dr. Ashby, as you're listening to what we're hearing from the White House here, they're describing this as benign, right? As something that isn't harmful to the president at this point in time. But let's take a look at his lifestyle, because he obviously has a very demanding travel schedule at times. We know that can certainly cause risk factors to circulation. There is his age. There is his history of, certainly he does play quite a lot of golf, but he doesn't have a history of really intensive cardiovascular activity. How do all of these things work together, and what kind of treatment or management might a doctor be looking at over time for someone of this age who is traveling a lot and sitting a lot?
Yeah, so it appears that the White House physicians were also concerned about more than meets the eye, meaning that they did a number of tests that I overheard you say, or the edit say earlier. He had a echocardiogram, a BNP, which is a brain natriuretic peptide, and lower extremity ultrasounds. So essentially, they were.
Hold on, we got a picture of Trump's cankles. Damn. Like, the longer you look at it, the more you're like, oh shit. Because, like, it's not just this bit coming out. Like, look at his shoe. Like, his whole foot is, like, crammed in there like Chinese foot binding. Like, that's his, like, heel sticking out. I'm shocked he's made it this long without gout. I don't think he eats a lot of offal, to be honest. I don't think he eats a lot of organs. I think it's mostly just McDonald's. I don't think McDonald's will give you gout unless you eat a ton of Big Macs.
They were covering all their bases, meaning that they were screening him for heart failure, which is a common cause of lower extremity swelling. In addition to that, they were concerned with increased pressure in his heart, so they did an echocardiogram and a BNP, and if those were abnormal, then you would be concerned with heart failure. So looking at the president's lower extremities, or his legs, he had bilateral swelling. So it's less likely that's related to a clot in the vein, and more likely related to things like heart failure, kidney failure, which are things that they alluded to and said that was not the case. Now, taking a step back, looking at the entire case, the president is obese. He is older, and
damn, bro, it's like 2 meat tubes. He looks like a wacky waving arm flailing inflatable tube man with legs.
I don't know if he has hypertension, but that's very likely or very common in his age group, particularly with his body habitus. So when you do have a condition like lower extremity swelling, bilateral, and a diagnosis of venous insufficiency, the question is it intrinsic to the veins, meaning does the venous insufficiency that he has, is it related to bad valves, or is it related to increased pressure coming from the heart? And those can be related to things like weight, also things like sleep apnea, which he
I'm telling you, Donald Trump is the most healthy president ever. I love doing the RFK impression. Hurts my throat bad though.
Fits the kind of the prerequisite for, meaning that he's a big guy, he's obese, and more likely to have sleep apnea, which is a condition where you stop breathing at night, and that can also increase the pressure in the lungs, which can then.
Bro, can you imagine Trump hooked up to one of those silly like elephant trunk CPAP machines? He's got to be using one of those. He's just sleeping and it's going brrrr all night. And Melania's just like sleeping with the pillow wrapped around her head, trying not to get the noise in.
Cause a backflow to the body, and it can be seen as lower extremity swelling, or what you saw in the picture. So, again, even though he's diagnosed with a benign condition, but venous insufficiency by itself doesn't necessarily mean it's benign. The question is what's causing the venous insufficiency. And so I would want to know whether or not he has any evidence of, again, increased pressures in the heart or increased pressures in the lungs, which can be contributing to that. And if so, what is the primary cause of that? Is it sleep apnea? Is it heart failure? But again, this is all speculation. But I wouldn't take the benign diagnosis on his face. I would want to work him up a little bit more to figure out exactly why he has venous insufficiency.
I mean, it's very clear it's the beginning of much more serious problems, and I don't think those serious problems are going to take their time to show themselves. I think sooner than later, surprisingly soon, we're going to hear about further health problems Trump is facing. And you know that he's probably dealing with the most stress he's ever dealt with in his presidential career because of all this Epstein stuff. So he's under the most stress he's ever been under. He's not very healthy in any way, to be honest. And he's getting old man veins. His heart and his lungs aren't doing as well as they used to. I don't know. Seems like the clock is ticking for our boy Trump. I know some people that are praying for certain outcomes right now. And I've got my own hopes, to say the least. I've got my own hopes. Now here, I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. If you did, please consider leaving a like and a comment, because every single thumbs up and comment boosts the channel and the algorithm on every video and stream you do it for. It's totally free and it takes just a second to do, so please consider helping out the channel in that way. It really does mean a lot. And of course, consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, particularly if you want to join my fan Discord server where I host watch parties, movie nights, and gaming events every Friday, then join through the link in the description and that just got posted in chat. The Discord is where it's at. Bars. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.